Okay, this is what's involved in taking off the carburetor on your CL350. First of all, you're going to need to pull this line here. This is the outer line that goes to the far left carburetor. And I don't push them all the way on. Just be aware when you pull this and you bring it down, you need to have a rag to catch the gas that's going to come out. And I've already drained this one, so you're not going to see much, if anything, coming out. But you get about a teaspoon, okay? And then the next one is a little trickier because I don't know if you can see it on this or not, but it's behind. Yeah, you can. It's behind the one I just took off. So I'm going to take that one off right now. And you notice I don't have it pushed down quite as far. That's to make it easier to take off when I'm going through all this tuning, etc. So I'm going to take that one off right now and be back in a sec. Okay, with the help of a flat-bladed screwdriver and a little prying, I do have it loose. And you'll see when I pull it off here that it's going to pee. And I have a rag here to catch it. You can do it in a cup, of course, but I like to use a rag because then I can toss it outside so I don't have to breathe the vapors, and it just evaporates. So now both fuel lines from the petcock, one each to each carburetor, have been removed. And then the next step is we'll open the seat and we'll pull the back of the tank up and out of its mount, and then we remove the line that connects the left and right side, the crossover line. You can see one of the tubes right there, and this is the side, the driver's right side, that we'll be removing. And it's easier to do when the seat has been, partially removed at the back, so you can lift it up just a little bit. So I'll do that next. So I have the seat open, and you can see the back of the tank mount. And originally this rubber mount did not have this slot removed, and you basically had to pull back, and they are just a real bear to get on and off. And knowing I will be taking this tank on and off many times, I sliced this one so that you just can peel these two sides back, and it will lift out, and then you can pull it up just a little bit, enough to get your thumb under there and to work that crossover line off that's connected to the right side of the tank. And you need to have some paper towels folded underneath there because it's going to bleed just a little bit. But here's the deal: you don't take it off yet. You have to drain the tank first. So what we're going to do is, I have two hoses I made up that allow me to completely drain the tank, one for each of the little bibs that are coming out of the petcock there. So that's what I'm going to do next, very important, before I remove the crossover line. Okay, so I have these two fuel lines. They're each about 24 inches long, 1/4-inch fuel line. And while it is possible to do one at a time, it's just twice as fast to do both at the same time. And you don't have to push them on all the way. It's kind of like the regular fuel lines, just about within, a 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. It's plenty for it to seal. And be sure your gasoline container is more than big enough for what you're draining, and you need to have good ventilation, of course, and be very safe with this. But anyway, so we'll drain that tank, and once that tank's drained, then we'll pull that crossover line off. Okay, so I got the tank drained, and one thing I didn't mention is that you want to drain it with the petcock in the reserve position, and that way it gets all the fuel out of the tank. And next thing I'll do is I'll reach underneath here, and it's really hard to see, but we'll give it a shot. Is I will remove the connecting pipe. In this case, I've already removed it, and you can see it in the background there, covered in gasoline. And what it takes to remove it is just a couple of thumbs with thumbnails, and just it's only on there about a ½ an inch, and that seals it just fine. And you just have to be a little patient and work it back and forth, and then it'll pop off. And then I've got a rag under here, paper towel, to catch the fuel that comes out, and you are going to get some fuel on your finger doing this. So now that I have that taken off, I'm going to remove the tank. Okay, to remove the tank, what you do is you pull up on the back of this, and then you pull back on the tank and wiggle, okay? And the mountings on the front are these little half moon cups, and they're actually going on to these little rubber bungs that are mounted to the frame. And so there's no actual bolts or anything that hold this tank on. And so the other thing is, once you move it back, you need to move it, the back of it, to the left, so that hose over there, the crossover hose, clears. And the combination of moving it back and up and to the left, and that tank will come off no problem. Okay, as you can see, I have the tank off, and you can see down here you have 4 sets of fuel line. 2 of them are smaller gauge, and those are the overflow from the carburetors. And then the 2 1/4-inch fuel lines, which you can see right there in the foreground, and those are the lines that actually go to the petcock that we removed. The little overflow lines can just stay with the carburetors. Anyway, you do have to remove the tank to do any real work on these carburetors, and you have to take the exhaust off, because this is the CL scrambler. Another thing too I'll mention is that when you store your gas tank, store it somewhere safe. And in this case, I've got a little roll around cart, and it lets me put the left fuel line down through the little slot, and the petcock through the other slot, because the tank it sits pretty funky, you know. Just try not to set it so that it's putting a crimp on your crossover line that's still connected on the left side, the driver's left. And that's how you get the tank off.